Hi everyone. So recently I posted a video about the outlook of atheists who were raised in very religious environments compared to those who were not. And I wanted to touch on that a little more. There's this mindset that is drilled into children raised in fundamentalist Christian environments and other strict religious upbringings that deals with how they are told to look at the world. I think it's something that, when not understood, makes many lifelong atheists assume that the lifelong religious people that they run into and discuss these issues with are dumb or just unsalvageably ignorant. And I feel what needs to be understood is that these people raised as religious fundamentalists are not stupid per se. They are just taught that they need to have a very different lens to view the world. They are told that they need to begin from the understanding that the Bible or the Quran or specific dogma is where you start your reasoning. And with that, all other inquiry needs to be basically focused in that direction. And that basically all the information that seems to be contradictory needs to be reinterpreted or discarded. A young earth creationist lecturer I once heard on YouTube, who was speaking at a church or a Christian conference or something, put it this way: I don't use dinosaurs to explain the Bible. I use the Bible to explain dinosaurs. Again, you have this idea that the scriptures are the starting point, not the conclusion. An opponent of young earth creationism that I knew when I used to post on a Christian message board, and this was about a year and a half ago, well into my deconversion process, put it really well when he called it the box. In other words, the ideas and theories that are thought to support the doctrines that have already been decided upon are embraced and trumpeted, but ideas that challenge these beliefs are discarded, even to the point of generally vilifying science as a tool of the devil and glorifying ignorance. For example, Christian apologists love the second law of thermodynamics. We'll bring it out whenever someone proposes a naturalistic origin of the universe or life from non-life on Earth, abiogenesis, things like that. I doubt some of these apologists could name any of the other laws of thermodynamics off the top of their head, but to many of them, there is probably no need, as they are just looking for a cool-sounding scientific term that proves that there's a logical grounding for their faith. However, when somebody like one of my fellow YouTube counter-apologists knocks that argument down with the old only in a closed system rebuttal, suddenly science does not matter and is not the best way to evaluate the nature of the universe, even to the point of glorifying ignorance, like I said, which is a topic I hope to cover in a future video. There is a story I heard a pastor tell in a church once that goes like this. A little Christian boy was told by a science teacher that the story of Jonah and the great fish was impractical. He listed all of the scientific reasons why a person could not survive in the belly of a giant fish, for 3 whole days without drowning or dying from lack of clean drinking water or a host of other perils that would certainly kill somebody if they were inside a giant fish. The boy then innocently says, "Well, I'll just have to ask him when I get to heaven." And the teacher responds, "What if he's not in heaven?" And the little boy says, "Well, I guess you'll just have to ask him then." And this got a huge laugh from the church audience, and I reflected on that sometime later and thought, is this an attitude that should be encouraged? That science is only good if it is perceived as propping up the literal reading of the Bible, and if not, then it just needs to be dismissed in favor of the quote-unquote childlike faith that only those who go into heaven will have, or that's the key to getting into heaven. And that's the point I want to emphasize. I'm not really smarter now that I am an atheist rather than a Christian. I was incredibly knowledgeable when I was a child about paleontology, and when I was really young, like in my preteen years, I was pretty well versed in physics and astronomy. It was a specific love of mine that anyone who knew me in middle school could tell you about. It's just that now I see things through the lens of a rational, empirically verifiable logic rather than the so-called eyes of faith. It's not an intelligence thing like many atheists frame it as. It has to do with basically upbringing and being taught what to think rather than how to think. Anyway, I just wanted to add that little bit in. As always, take care and answer the questions by questioning the answers. I'm out.